Is it actually worthwhile now, do you think, telling your kids to not try to become a lawyer or a doctor, just do something like diversity courses at some point?
It's true that it's becoming a massive industry. Certainly hundreds of millions, eventually billions will be spent on this, and any organisation, whether it's public sector, private sector or voluntary, seems to need these new officers. And it's amazing, £211,000, more than the Prime Minister gets paid, about 5 or 6 times the average wage. And really, it's not. I mean, it's a charity, isn't it? It's up to them what they do with their money, and it's up to their board what they do with it. But the problem is, in the public sector, you've got this creeping in all over the place. So, I mean, it's not just we criticise the position, the posts, because they are actually quite divisive. A lot of these things, actually create more problems than they're worth. But they're also displacing the goals of the organisations that they work for. So, I'm old-fashioned, okay? So if you're in charge of the Wellcome Collection, it might be that your purpose in life is to exhibit and curate the collection, not to transform society.
No, exactly this. Loads to talk about there, because if you are on that salary, or any salary, or your job title is in relation to diversity, presumably you have to justify that salary at some point. And that would mean, the only way I could look at it really is either making sure that your office looks like the United Nations, even if that's not a fair representation of wider society, and the collection, the art collection or whatever, is as international and diverse and LGBTQ plus whatever friendly as it possibly can be, instead of maybe, dare I say it, people getting jobs based on merit or artwork being showed on merit.
Well, that's true. No, I mean, artwork, we should not be censoring artwork, OK? And one of the effects of having an officer like this, by the way, the Wellcome Collection are already doing this. They did this last year in a collection. So they actually employed people to write criticisms of their own collection. There's a lot of self-flagellation. I think, again, I'm a little bit old-fashioned, I think if you can't defend the very collection that it's your job to defend, you shouldn't be working there.
No.
It's basics.
But I also think as well, if people really need a diversity officer, what that implies to me is that without it, they would be frothing racists. We need this person here to make sure to just save us from ourselves. I don't understand why they need it. And as you've said as well, do you think they naturally would try to push a political message or a societal message onto things that don't need it? Well,
they tend to do that. They tend to look at everything through this sort of ultra-racialised lens. And don't forget, they're keen on certain types of diversity, but not others. I mean, they're not keen. Well, they're not keen on diversity of opinion, are they? There's only one type of opinion that they like, and certainly not. They tend not to be very interested in social class either. That's something which you just forget about. It's not.
Well, that is interesting, actually. Yes, because there is that side of diversity, which would be to try to really help the poor, disadvantaged, working class. Quite often Caucasian, not exclusively individual, who maybe is underperforming at school. But that's the wrong kind of diversity, isn't it?
The wrong kind, but also the tendency always is, I mean, they're flagellated, they're looking at their own collection and going through it and sorting it out. But, again, that's wrong. We shouldn't be... It's the same as taking statues down. You won't learn about history if you destroy it.
Well, no, indeed. Now, some people would say that actually this is a sign of progress, that there were racist incidents in the past, there are racist incidents today, and that, hey, even if it costs you a whopping £211,000 a year, or even if it costs you, in the sake of the NHS, 60, 70, 80, whatever, but as long as you've got this person here, it is, if it helps just one person, that's worth it.
Well, OK, let's deal with that. Helping people, OK? The Wellcome Trust, its exhibits are mainly about medical history, right? So what they will be doing, and what they did last year, was pay someone to effectively criticise Jeremy Bentham, who's in their collection, OK? They're good at doing that. What I would like, but I think it's unfair because they're good at doing that, what I would like to hear more of is the contribution of Western medicine to global health. You hear very little about that. You don't look at the positives, you're not looking forward, you're trying to dredge up and flagellate and say this was terrible. Well, that was the past, we can learn from it, but let's hear a bit more positivity about malaria treatments or the contribution of science and medicine globally.
Yeah, indeed. And there does appear to be this relentless desire to pigeonhole people. Can I just float an idea? I'm doing this live on air, I've just come up with this, but which is that you and I both try to apply for a catalogue of diversity officer roles
And record.
record the interview process at a variety, and just see, as we get increasingly more desperate, what we're willing to say about ourselves.
To be honest, actually, I don't think we'd make the shortlist. So
that's true.
they'd probably sort us out. But on a serious note, I want to get this across. Censorship of artworks is not a good idea. We've thought about that in the SDP, and we have a policy. And our policy in relation, Wellcome can do what they like. Okay, that's right. But in the public realm and publicly funded realm, any organisation of any kind in the public realm that receives public money that starts censoring art exhibits will have all of its funding removed. That's the policy. That's what you need to do.